Hello everybody, it's Starrapter. Welcome back for another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon. Every week I break it all down for you guys. Everything new in the Star Wars universe that relates back to the films. This could be anything such as the TV series, the novels, the comics, and the video games. This week we had 3 new comics. First off, I'm going to start by talking about the new ongoing comic book series, Darth Vader. This is the 2nd issue, and well, this one takes place in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and it picks up directly after Revenge of the Sith when he just gets into his armor. So his first mission was given to him by Palpatine, and he has to get a new lightsaber. To do that, he has to kill a Jedi and basically bleed his lightsaber crystal. So he was marooned in the last comic on this planet. He had a ship stolen, and now he had actually reclaimed a ship, and he goes to this Jedi outpost, which has now been garrisoned by the clone troopers, and he goes there and he just slaughters all the clones to get to the mainframe computer where he identifies this Jedi, and he's on his way. So I'm going to go and talk about my positives of this particular comic. First off, I love seeing the clones. Clone troopers are one of my favorite things about Star Wars, and I like to see that the clones now are kind of put to these minuscule missions of where they go to these Jedi outposts and they kind of categorize the robes and the lightsabers and the holocrons. They're just doing these very boring tasks because apparently at this time, soon after the events of Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine has shut down further clone operations on Kamino. So there's literally the last set of clones coming out, and this kind of sets things up forward. Something I did like to see in this was a bit of the Clone Wars, where we have these 2 clones that have the nicknames of both Kicker and Ding. I like seeing how the clones are still, you know, their personalities per each person. Even though they're clones, they all act differently. It's really nice. I love the journey of Kicker and Ding. There are these 2 clone troopers that have seen a lot of battles, and they're just kind of put to this mission of categorizing stuff. And they are talking about how, oh, they want to be the red-helmeted guards of Palpatine, and they have all these goals and aspirations for doing that, and when Vader comes, they get their necks basically cracked. And it's just this kind of traumatizing and tragic tale of these 2 clones. I really liked it a lot. Of course, I enjoyed the part about when Vader approaches this outpost and he takes out 4 ARC 170s without a problem. He's got this new ship and he just destroys everything. Then he goes inside of this place and they have no idea who he is. No one knows who Darth Vader is. He doesn't have his lightsaber at that point, and he just decimates the clones like it's absolutely unreal. It's like something straight out of Rogue One. Exactly. He just goes and force pushes a couple, and he is taking lots of shots. He's getting hit a lot. I mean, you see his robe, his cloak just getting punctured with holes. He is force pushing objects. At one point, he takes a lightsaber that he finds on the wall and just starts slaughtering these clones with this green lightsaber. It was a really cool visual seeing Darth Vader with a green lightsaber. I gotta say that. And right at the end, he's literally holding this grenade. That's a poison grenade, and he's literally holding that, and then he just force chokes or whatever and just snaps 2 of these clones' necks at the same time. Like, this is the ultimate form of Vader. Like, what we wanted to see Vader in his prime, this is Vader in his prime, no doubt about it. Not only did this issue offer great images and violence, but it actually expanded the lore of Star Wars a little bit. So there's these Jedi that take this code called the Barash Code, or the Barash Vow, and they are Jedi who aren't really in the Order. They kind of excommunicate themselves voluntarily, I guess, and they just have no connections but to the Force themselves. So this is how Vader kind of tracks down this Jedi, is that these certain Jedi obviously were never affected by Order 66 because they never had the clone regiment. They're kind of off the books, I guess, of the main Jedi Order. So there are still some stragglers out there, and that's Vader's next target, is one of these people that follows the Barash Vow. And finally, I'm actually starting to warm up to this art because I was bashing it pretty hard in my last episode for the opening issue. I just didn't like it. It was mainly because of Palpatine just looked way off for me, but I can see now that this book kind of portrays Vader in that more youthful kind of stature. You could definitely tell he's kind of more in the vein of a Hayden Christensen kind of physique. So it is kind of neat, and I'm definitely enjoying it more now with a second glance at this other issue coming out. So the next comic I want to talk about is Darth Maul number 4. It's been a while since we had a Darth Maul issue. It's been almost 2 months, but we are back in the swing of things. Last we left off, Darth Maul has got his prey. This is Eldra Cadis, the Jedi padawan that he was seeking, and he has her captured along with Cad Bane's with him as his bounty hunter gang with R. Singh, but they have been kind of betrayed and they are crashing down on this planet by Zev Drexus, who is the person that has had Eldra Cadis up for auction. So she tells all of these criminals that were there, hey, well, she escaped, but there's still a chance to get your bounty. You can go down to the planet and you can kill all the other people down there too and have a fun time. So that's basically what this issue is about. So Darth Maul and Eldra Cadis split up. They're going to basically lure these opponents to them while Cad Bane, R. Singh, and company go and find a transport to get them the heck out of there. And this issue was a lot about conversations between Darth Maul and Eldra Cadis, and I thought it was a pretty interesting issue. So talking about more in depth of the things I did enjoy was, first off, the action between Maul and Eldra Cadis. They actually have to combine forces because mainly Darth Maul just wants her to himself, so he wants to defend her long enough to where he can destroy all those enemies out there and then get his one shot at her. And I think it was just great seeing a lot of these different aliens from throughout Star Wars. So we have the Constable Zuvio looking aliens, we have the Pikes from the Clone Wars, we have the Trandoshans, we have these IG-88 looking assassin droids, and it's just really cool seeing Darth Maul actually team up with a Jedi with a blue lightsaber. I mean, you never really seen that ever, and they were just kicking so much ass. Something else about this comic, I liked seeing Cad Bane, but I want to see more of him. So him and his crew, they dispatched a group of Trandoshans basically with no problem, but I just wanted to see more of them. And I did like the dialogue between Maul and Eldra Cadis. I liked seeing how Maul was kind of analyzing her and saying that she should be scared and she isn't. That makes her a very strong, powerful Jedi, and it's going to be an honor kind of for him to take her down. And Maul does have these kind of ideals, and he has honor because he says, you know, he wants to verse her in a way where it's one-on-one. He doesn't want to try to do any of these backstab kind of things. He wants to have honorable combat. I thought that was interesting. And finally, the last comic for this week was Poe Dameron Annual number 1. So this comic was a one-shot kind of thing because it's an annual, and it's basically a tale about Poe Dameron and BB-8. They got marooned in space, and then they basically find this transport full of First Order troops, and they're trying to escape, and they come along this intel that says basically Agent Terex is alive, and then they escape, and that's pretty much the gist of this issue. It wasn't very deep. It was more of a very action-heavy kind of companion piece between both BB-8 and Poe Dameron. One thing I want to note is, I don't know where in the timeline this really is. It's kind of confusing in a way because they just find out that Terex is actually dead in the last comic. They still think he might be around, or vice versa. They think he's dead in the last comic. They find out he's alive in this one. And it's like the last comic left off number 15, I believe, where Poe was like piloting this tanker ship full of bombs, and now this one picks up where he's just floating in space. Like, it seems like it's a completely other adventure, but sort of in the same time frame. So yeah, I am just a little bit confused where this thing is in general. What I did like is seeing Poe survive in space. I thought that was pretty interesting, how they're floating in the vacuum of space, and he's there with BB-8. BB-8 doesn't have jets like R2 does, so they're really forced with trying to come up with some creative way of getting out of there alive. And one thing else to note about this comic is that throughout this comic there is basically flashbacks to Poe and Leia Organa having these conversations about where does Poe fit in with the Resistance. And Poe has been basically a little bit like Han Solo throughout, because she always says, oh, you remind me of someone. Well, that's because Poe is a lot about himself. He's very cocky, he's very full of himself, but by the end of this adventure he realizes that he just can't rely on himself, and he's got to rely on others to the betterment of the Resistance. So that's what I thought about Poe Dameron Annual number 1. So that is going to do it for another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon, but I want to know what you guys thought of Darth Vader, of Poe Dameron Annual #1, and of Darth Maul. Let me know in that comment section below. Also, if you aren't already subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so. I often upload Star Wars content, well, probably about once a week, so make sure you get on that so you don't miss any future uploads. I'm Starrapter, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you always. So, did you like the video? Then make sure you rate it a thumbs up, and if you did that, go over there, hit that Starrapter head so you subscribe to my channel. Doing so will keep you up to speed on all of my latest content, speaking of which you can see a couple of my recent uploads down below. I'm also on social media, so what are you waiting for? Let's start nerding out!